Hey sister, how are you? What's
Hey,
up,
sister.
man?
All good, man. How are you doing, sister?
I'm doing great, especially last night. Amazing victory. Amazing. You
I,
can see the smile of my face. It has not gone since yesterday.
I know. I understand you hate Barcelona so much, so the 8-2
No,
scoreline is
it's
8-2
it
scoreline is like an
was
icing. It's an icing on the cake, isn't it?
absolutely. Although I should not be completely biased against Barcelona fans. It's not a club which
Yeah.
I hate much, but yeah, I think the dominance which they have had for past so many years, and I would say the past decade, I think it's high time that a new team takes up their position. So I think it's good for football. It's good for football, but let's not think about the future now because it would be really hard to comment upon the next few years in the football, especially after what happened last night. But how was the game? Did you watch the complete one?
I,
How was it?
I, I saw it. I saw the game. I saw the game maybe more more towards the second half. I saw it more towards the second half, but I believe I missed a lot of crux of it. But then yes, I've seen the highlights and stuff, and yeah, Bayern outplayed in every department which was there, which you can think of on a football field altogether.
So
I don't
question to
have any.
you.
I don't think so. There's anything which they've missed. Every pass was perfect. Everything was perfect. I don't think so. There was anything which is
So
a dubious thing.
so question to you. Did that highlights package or did that match which you tuned in last night, did that remind you of Germany versus Brazil 2014?
Oh yes, oh yes. It's like it's like it was like a force to reckon with. Bayern Munich, I because me being a Chelsea fan, I've seen the kind of drubbing we got about the last week, if I'm not wrong, 4-1, and
Yeah.
before that at Bridge it was 3-0, 7-1 on an overall score. But then that tops it off. Okay, fine, we're not the only one who got the drubbing. Barcelona, it's gone one level up. So that was something which was very interesting for me. But then yes, it reminded me of Germany. More than that, it reminded me of United versus Arsenal, and I know that brings that
Nine
reminds
nine
that
years ago, yeah.
yes, that brings a smile on your face. But then yes,
Yeah.
that 8-2 was more of putting across the essence of football and the quality of football which Bayern Munich right now is playing.
Exactly.
From
So
from
so
from the
talking
striker
yeah.
to the goalkeeper, I think so. Everyone played their perfect role, no matter what.
Yeah. And talking about the essence of football, let's talk about what sort of tactics happened last night. So, firstly, I would say like when I saw the team sheets and trust me, looking at the bench of Bayern Munich, it's frightening. It's frightening to be honest. And if you're a neutral, you have to comment on that bench is good enough to make a separate team and at least go till the quarterfinals or semifinals of Champions League by itself because that bench is so strong and Bayern Munich were completely overpowering Barcelona at least on the team sheets front. So I think every sensible pundit would have commented and would have given Bayern Munich upper hand in that game even before the match started, but I think the scoreline itself, I was not expecting it. I don't think so many people were expecting that. But yeah, that was something really it was basically a spanking, I would say. And
Yeah.
sorry to the Barcelona faithful, but yeah, I think it was something which was not expected at all. So coming to the team sheets, what's your thoughts on the Barcelona team sheet? What do you think that the way they have been going around for the past few years, the sort of team and the look of the team, the age of the team, what are your thoughts on that?
See, I feel Barcelona now has in the past decade and a half they've ruled football. To be very honest, they've ruled football, and now it is just fading away. Now is the time to bring in young blood. Same is the case with United, Chelsea, Arsenal, as well as say RB Leipzig. They're playing pretty well. That team just formed in 2009. It was post your ours. I'll put it across as ours. Our first Champions League final meeting, which didn't go down well with me. I feel gutted about it.
Yeah,
But then
six
yes,
five. Yeah.
so 6-5 and penalty shootout, Terry missing it, Ronaldo missing it out of all the people, which nobody expected. So there are a lot of things, and I think Barcelona right now has to evolve with football. They've been banking too much on Messi and PK in the back, and they've got a lot of old guards in between. So they have to come into the new drive and the new way. I believe there was a lot of rift in the team, so that was more visible.
Hmm.
That was
Right.
very visible. That was very visible on the field. That players were not communicating. The passing was haywire. Messi was shut down. Everything was there all together. It was not. But like we talk about football, football is always a team game. Bayern or Barcelona, for that matter, was more towards individuality of Messi, Suarez in the front, and PK in defense, being a warrior at the defense. He's done that over and over years, and then in the goal. But then Ter Stegen has been and he's been a talk of the town right now for transfer talks also. So I believe Barcelona needs to have a new vision and a new pathway if they want to continue being uh, being one of the top boys or top dogs in the Champions League, like they have been.
Right.
They've invariably they've encapsulated the game of football for quite some time now. So they
Right.
need to do that. If they don't, unfortunately, it might be a downfall. What I was reading today as well, I believe Messi is not very keen on renewing his contract post 2021. That next season might be his last season also.
Yeah.
So
True.
we don't know. We don't know. So it is. I believe Bayern needs to Barcelona. Sorry, I don't know why it's just coming out as Bayern. Barcelona really needs to up the tempo and buy players. Not buy players. I believe that Mustala. I believe that is.
La
Uh,
Masia. La
oh,
Masia.
yeah, La Masia. Yeah, exactly. The La Masia produces brilliant young footballers. Very good. I believe Messi is a product of that. And across the globe, you see, La
But
Masia
but
has
but but
produced
I think
brilliant
but I
footballers.
think coming to that La Masia talk, I think if you talk to the Barcelona faithful right now right now completely talking from a Barcelona standpoint, so La Masia and the level and the quality of the players coming out of La Masia over the past few years has not been that great, and that's the reason why most of the ardent Barcelona fans, they have been actually not been very pleased about it, and that's the reason why Catalonia, if I talk about the region over there, they're really not that much pleased that the club is not investing that much which they used to in the early 2000. The time when Frank Rijkaard was there, Pep Guardiola was there, the kind of emphasis which was there on La Masia is not there anymore, and especially I believe because they are not having a youth system right now, a youth system which is a very renowned one from a Barcelona standpoint, but you don't have many players which are coming out of it. Uh, Over the last few years, if you see some of the decisions they have made in their own the way they have formed the team, they bought Coutinho for 140 million odd, and then they sent him on for loan. They have just now. In the past transfer market, they've actually bought Pjanic, which is again old guard, so they are not investing in the youth, and right now with the current sort of a game which I think teams like Bayern Munich, teams like Liverpool, teams like City, and also like these teams are really they have one ideology. They like to press hard. They like to really be really very courageous on the ball, and they're very physically fit. So that kind of a stuff and that kind of I think area is something which Barcelona is lagging right now, and that was completely evident in the last night game. So coming back to the game itself, so if I talk about the first goal, so looking at that and the ease at which Barcelona was cut through by Bayern Munich was so evident. It was like the ease was it was so easy. It felt like that Bayern Munich is perhaps having a training session there, because you talked about Gerard Piqué and the old guard and the warrior he has been, but let's be very honest that one man cannot run a show, especially in the defense. You need
Exactly.
a good coalition. You need a good coalition between your center backs, between your right and left backs, and and especially the first point wherein the first goal went, and I think it was the fourth minute itself. The ease at which Bayern Munich were able to deliver crosses, and the ease at which the likes of Lewandowski, the likes of Muller, and these are the pro goal scorers and the pro, I would say, team members of Bayern Munich now. They have been there for like so many years now. So the ease at which they opened up Barcelona's defense, it was to be honest, as a neutral, I would say it was completely admirable as well as shocking, because when you're looking and when you're expecting a Champions League quarterfinal, and especially between these two giants having 10 Champions League between them. So you don't expect such an open game, and I was actually taken back by the first goal itself. But yes, it actually sounded a bell that, okay, you know what, 90 minutes is going to be really eventful.
Yeah, I have to add this when you're saying the way they cut through. And the only thing which it strikes to my mind is like a hot knife going through butter. It was
Exactly.
that easy. It was that
Exactly.
easy. And also it was not that Bayern Munich played a B team or a C team or a D team. They played a top-notch team,
Yep.
and they cut through. And it was not even they're playing a championship team or a League Two team. Bayern Barcelona is number two. They came number two in the league. They
Yeah.
were leading the race, even though then they lost the plot post the restart. But then it has been it was an utter shocker, to be very honest. I never thought. I thought this game is going to an extra time. It's going to be a head on. It's going to be a banger of a game. But then I didn't expect this kind of a 8-2 scoreline and a
Yeah.
one-sided scoreline all
Yeah.
together. It was never expected.
I
And
think
the
if you watched especially the first half an hour, because I think what we can relate with Barcelona's previous game, which was against Napoli, and this game against Bayern Munich, there was one thing common. However, there was one thing completely different. One thing which was common was in the first 30 minutes, the game was over. That was a common thing, because if I talk about Napoli, they scored first three goals within first 30-35 minutes, and the game was well beyond Napoli's reach. However,
yes,
on this time around, they were on the receiving end, and first 30 minutes everything was done and dusted. The thing which really stood out for me, and being an ardent football follower for like close to a couple of decades now, the one thing which really stood out was when the second goal went in, which was the own goal from David Alaba, and that was a miscue which happened while he was trying to defend. The ease at which Alaba was. So generally, when we talk about a quarterfinal between Bayern Munich and a Barcelona, the tensions are high, the adrenaline rush is there. It's everything is on the line. So I expect a player or a team member or a team morale to completely go right at the
drop.
bottom once you score an own goal. But to my surprise, Alaba was looking even more confident. He gave a nice smirk to Neuer. Neuer actually patted him on his shoulder, and he said, "No, no problem. Let's continue with it." And it was like they were oozing confidence. They knew that even if Barcelona hit them with like couple of goals, nobody's going to stop them. It was as if that they know deep down that if they perform right up their levels, they can easily score 5-6 against any team. and
I
and
think
that
they
was that was scary. That was scary. Trust me, that was scary.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, it was. I believe Barcelona were lucky. This is just a one-legged race.
Yeah.
They are very lucky. They are very lucky. This was one-legged race. Otherwise, this should have been say about. It would have been say about 12, 13, 14,
I
maybe
was I
15.
was getting some
Nobody
I
knows.
was get I was
Nobody
getting
knows.
some messages that the stuff which you're talking about, that had it been two-legged affair, so it would have been, the scoreline would be a cricket scoreline. And I was getting messages like that. Okay, that if they are scoring 8 goals in one leg, they will be scoring 16 in two. Although football doesn't
Yeah,
happen that way, but yeah, but it's still very scary to see that in 90 minutes you are conceding 8 goals. So yeah, it was a complete demolition, I think, job done on Barcelona. And if I talk about the next how it panned out, so just as you correctly mentioned, the way they cut through Barcelona's defense. So the goals number 2, 3, and 4 were absolute epitome of that. The way Bayern Munich play, and I think one point which I would like to mention over here is, if you talk about Bayern Munich especially. So Bayern Munich has had a lot of problems with their left backs. And when I say a lot of problems with their left backs, it's been like once you had David Alaba playing right up there at the left back position, and then they thought that they are some sort of a weak on the center back side. Then they chopped and changed, and then they tried to make sure that Jerome Boateng is playing over there along with perhaps Kimmich over there sometimes. But I think that left back spot was always a kind of a troublesome for them because they thought that Alaba is best suited from a central role. But yesterday, and I have to be honest, I have to raise my hand up and say that I was not aware of a gem of a left back, which Alphonso Davies is. I was so impressed. I have never seen a left back like that. Trust me, I've never seen
And
a left back like that.
after Ashley Cole, I've never seen somebody do something like that.
I,
Put
I think I
somebody in
think
the
I think I think right now your biasness towards Chelsea is kicking in because I don't think so. Ashley Cole stood a chance, and I know
No,
that
absolutely. But
some of
then
our Arsenal supporters would agree with me on that because they have a lot of anger against him. But Ashley Cole himself was a legend of the game. But I really don't think that he would have given such an assist which Alphonso Davies gave yesterday to Kimmich when he went
I'll
past the entire Barcelona defense.
I'll tell you one more thing. This guy is a Canadian. He's a Canadian guy,
Canadian, yeah, yeah,
Canadian boy.
yeah.
And I also believe what I have just read somewhere that Alfonso Davies was offered to Barcelona first and then Bayern Munich. Uh, Barcelona passed on him saying, "Oh, just a Canadian." That's what I've just read. That
If
is
that's
something. If that's what I've read, it's an eye opener. It's an eye opener and a shocker if they let go of this boy. But this boy has proved that country, no matter what country you come from,
right, right, and
it is
obviously you can't
just your
judge a player.
skills.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just your skills which talk on the football ground. And
right,
90 minutes how you perform. You can be
right.
playing Bayern Munich, Barcelona, United, Chelsea, City, Real Madrid, or
Right.
any of the top dogs. But it's just your skills which count.
Exactly, and let's talk about like the point which you're making over here is that a person's nationality doesn't define what sort of a football player he is because we all know that Canada is not such a great football team, and same goes for although Canada US is much better than what Canada is right now, but same goes for Pulisic right now. So Pulisic is also an American. You
Exactly.
don't like pay heed to such kind of an American transfers that much, but Pulisic is a really great example. And if I talk about uh, before him, Clint Dempsey, if I talk about London Donovan, so all these kind of players, so they have actually proven themselves that even if you're coming from a not European country, you're coming from other regions, it's something
Yes.
which is just a name attached to your skill. It's
Exactly.
it's 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 not defined by what
It's,
how you can play.
yes.
Coming to that assist, and you've just mentioned that you've compared Alfonso Davies with a veteran, which is Ashley Cole. I think it would be a slight harsh on the kid to be compared so early in his career to be compared with Ashley Cole. But I think the kind of run which he had yesterday, I have not seen that from a left back for a very very long time. I saw a similar
And
run from Gareth Bale, and that was although he started his career as a left back, but he was not a left back when he had that run and when he went past Barcelona players and he scored a goal. But that run from Alfonso Davies, and trust me, if you check his account today, and if you follow because I'm certainly a fan now. I'm certainly a fan because yesterday the person, so Lewandowski, you talk about Muller, you talk about Kimmich, you talk about all these stars which Barcelona has, so which Bayern Munich has. But one thing which is really standing out is that this guy was a complete. I think he was a man of the match performance, although it was given to Muller for his couple of goals which he scored. But I think Davies performed amazingly well. I think he was a standout figure for me.
he was a dark horse, and he showed, and it showed. And
So so
it was a very bright light. Nobody could judge
so I have a question. I have a
Alfonso.
question. I have a question for you. Do you think there is any positives out of Barcelona's performance last night? Any positives you feel? Anything
I
which
Yes,
stood out?
I believe what they did in the second half, especially with the Suarez's goal. So Suarez's talent in itself, we all know about him because he's played with Liverpool for some time and he was a runner-up so to
Right.
be,
Right.
unfortunately. But then the kind of trickery he has and the kind of the calmness which he has, no matter whatever problems he's had over the years. But then
Right.
I believe the new Barcelona team, slowly and steadily, is going to come up. That team, excuse me, that team is going to be that team has to it has to imbibe the essence and the presence of what Barcelona has stood for.
Right.
So they have to. If you look at the long run, Barcelona did do a few things in between in sporadic manner, where they tried to penetrate, but the penetration was I believe the ball which was standing in the back four, they were all over the place, and they were all over the midfielder, attacking midfielders and the strikers all over the place, and especially keeping Messi quiet throughout the night without making a single pass. And I believe, if I remember correctly, what I saw in my eyes, 85th or the 87th minute when Messi made his first run, where he was where Araba tried to tackle him, and the only shot which I saw where Messi took and Neuer saved. And post that, then it was a Coutinho show. And we'll come to Coutinho because Coutinho is invariably a Barcelona player, gone on loan to Bayern Munich, comes on in the 82nd minute, makes an assist in the 85th, scores two.
True, true.
So
And I think that sums up what Barcelona is doing wrong over the past few years. If and I was talking about the transfer window. So Barcelona, the Barcelona which we all knew, with the Barcelona who has dominated football for the past one decade or a decade and a half. So that Barcelona, they have always managed to sign some sensible players, players who are like fitting their role of play, how the team plays, and you don't associate Barcelona spending like breaking a bank for a player like a Coutinho. So although they did that because Coutinho was really highly rated at that time, but again, when you're spending so much money, so let's talk about the couple of signings which they did. So they spent huge money for Coutinho. They spent huge money for Anton Griezmann. And some of the shocking decisions which they have made is that they let Arthur go in the last summer window. In the last, I think it was a
winter
window,
winter transfer.
and they,
Yeah.
they they let him, and that's a young midfielder which they had, and I think that person had a lot of promise. But letting him go and getting a Pjanic, with no disrespect to Pjanic, but he has been an amazing player. But he's really at the back end of his career right now. What Barcelona doesn't need is again a person who is on his last legs. And right now, saying that Pjanic is on his last leg it would be a bit, I would say, injustice to Pjanic. But again, Barcelona should be looking at players who are quite young if they have to match the likes of Bayern Munich, if they have to match the likes of City, if they have to match the likes of the budding teams which are actually projecting the way they have been playing a high press game, and especially this tiki-taka style of play wherein you keep the ball and you pass the ball, you keep the ball, you pass the ball. I think you have to do it a bit more faster than
I,
what they
I
used to.
Yeah, I agree. But then I have to say, this is not, I believe it is the top management which has to be blamed for it. And
Yeah,
not even the top management, but I believe the direction in which football has gone from, say, about 2000 to about 2019. This year it's a
right,
little different because of COVID.
right,
But then from 2000 to 2019, it has been altogether a ball game of where you buy players at a price, or they've done couple of seasons, they've done well. I'll take a very simple example. Wilfred Boney, when he was at Swansea,
right,
he did a brilliant job for 2 seasons, and then
right.
City bought him for about 40, 45 million, if I'm not wrong, or maybe 35
Yeah,
million. And,
yeah,
and, and he was invariably on the bench because Zeko started performing. Aguero was there. He was a third choice striker.
right,
So there are times when you have to look at players. I believe you have to invest in the youth, and I'm talking. And I'm a Chelsea fan, and this season when we had a transfer ban, I believe I was one of the most happiest people around the globe, and I told you that when we had a
right,
conversation that transfer ban is going to be a blessing in disguise for six. So for so many years, I've been a Chelsea fan for almost about 18, 20 odd years now, and I've
right,
followed this game. And these boys, the team deserved a chance. The youngsters deserved a chance, and all of them have stood well. You take the name, and I can tell you, these boys have done very well. And I believe, like we said, Marcela. the La Masia over a period of time have produced brilliant kids. But then I don't deny the facility is good, everything is good. But then if you ignore the youth, which is currently there, obviously the word travels quite faster around the footballing fraternity, who's ignoring whom. And that is how the word travels. And if you're now investing more on strikers like Anton Griezmann and no disrespect, he played brilliantly for Atletico, or for that matter, Coutinho. Coutinho came off the bench. It was a one-to-one substitution. If you talk about those things, these boys, the youngsters deserve a chance, and Marcelo have to go back to the drawing board and think what they did right when the Messi era started.
Exactly.
When the Messi era started, and you understand it was such a furore when Ronaldinho was being substituted by a 18, 19-year-old or 17-year-old Lionel Messi coming onto football, doing his footwork and scoring a goal, I believe, in his first game. And it was turning of the page and passing of a baton from a player like Ronaldinho, who's still playing, and to a person like Lionel Messi, and they have not looked back. Right now, though, I don't think so. Barcelona has somebody who can take that pressure and fill that shoes of Lionel Messi. And there is not a simple, and I shouldn't compare this, and it is a huge mistake if I'm doing it. If, for example, when Sir Alex Ferguson left United for 26 years, post that David Moyes came, it was very difficult to fill those shoes, and it is difficult. And I understand that, because when you're filling Lionel Messi in itself and Ronaldo in itself, these two guys are legend in their own way. So Alex Ferguson is Sir Alex Ferguson because he is Sir Alex Ferguson in his own way. So when we are talking, nobody can fulfill or fill the boots in one way, in one go, in one night and overnight. Obviously, it's a trial and error till the time you find the right consistency or the right player to not not be exactly Messi, but at least match, say, about a 19-20 kind of a thing, maybe 80% of a Messi. It is a win-win situation for Barcelona. But then they have to go back to the drawing board to
Right.
find a team, especially right now, find the right manager for them. There are a lot of
Exactly.
there in the mix. You've got quite a lot of players. We've got Sari, who's just been released from Juventus. Unfortunate a year, just a season for him. He did well with Chelsea as well, but then we also had to let him go because Juventus were more hungry for him. Then we've got Pochi. He's still looking out for a club. So there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things available for in terms of the managerial outtakes for Barcelona as well. They might go in
We
for.
have already seen a sacking. So last night he got sacked also, the Barcelona
Yes,
manager. So
yes,
obviously
exactly,
that would be the first priority now for the club to appoint a
exactly.
successor. So
Yes, because
yes,
no,
these
nobody has
candidates.
a. Yeah, sorry, go
Yes,
ahead.
I completely agree that these candidates are available. But again, I would say that if I talk about the Barcelona style of play and what they have been doing over the past few years and the last decade, so as to say, they've always tried to have some sort of a manager who knows the roots well. So I think the likes of I think Sari, I would really not I would be surprised if Sari is appointed by Barcelona. But yeah, I think that they will go back to the drawing board, and I think the two people who are really the ones who know their entire grassroots level of football, I think that would be Xavi, and he is a person who has no experience, but yeah, I think he would be the one. Or perhaps you have a Pep Guardiola who is proven over there, but again, it would be really hard to lure him right now. Although you know that Pep Guardiola always spends around 3 to 4 years in a club. Post Barcelona, he's always spent like that. So it will be interesting. It will be interesting to understand who joins now Barcelona. But I think you and me both agree on a couple of things here. That the takeaway for Barcelona from this game is that firstly they have to look at their internal structure, because right now it's a mess. We have a issue with their football sporting director Eric Abidal, saying multiple statements which we have read so much about that we don't need to discuss any further. And obviously there's a lack of, I would say, unity among the players, and also not starting Griezmann when you have spent 120 million, especially in a game wherein the stakes are so high against the Bayern Munich side. It was beyond my understanding. So those kind of things perhaps they need to look at, and then, as you said, they have to start from the grassroots level itself. But we have
I
talked enough
believe the
about.
it was
Yeah,
it was more of the belief. I believe the belief system is not there. Barcelona doesn't have the belief system as of now. The belief system, and the belief system was shaken as soon as the restart started to happen. They screwed up a lot of games. The belief system, I believe, right now the Barcelona belief system is very weak. They have to
I
go
think so.
back.
I think so. I think so. The belief
Yeah,
system has not been there for many years now, and you might contradict me on that. But I think the time when they lost to Roma away, and then they losing to Liverpool at Anfield, those kind of defeats, they're really they might call their 6-5 victory over PSG as a crowning moment of a comeback. But trust me, losing away, and when you're already the tie is in your hands, and you're winning at Camp Nou so comfortably, and then going away and getting a really smashing at the hands of these clubs. So I think their belief has gone a few years ago. I think, and
uh,
last few years, if you talk about, they've always done well at Camp Nou, or managed somehow to get a victory, and sometimes even a big victory like what they had against Liverpool, 3-0. And then losing 4-0 at Anfield, really a team like Barcelona, you don't expect that. You don't, and I think it's more about their style of play. So when we talk about the Premier League, we have teams who can play different kinds of football. However, with Barcelona, it's like just one way. They just know one way how to play. So we have talked a lot about Barcelona. How about Bayern Munich? What do you think Bayern Munich? Where do you think they go from here? Because to be honest, as a neutral right now, I would say that this team would be really really hard to stop, and I really don't see who can stop them, because what I saw yesterday, and I think yesterday, and I'll be very honest, when I watched them against Chelsea, when I watched them against Spurs this season, I think they were playing in their third gear, I believe. Last
yeah.
night, the first 30 minutes, I think I saw what real Bayern Munich can do. And and to be honest, once they hit the fourth goal, from 31 minutes till the time the referee blew the whistle for the halftime, I think they eased off. I think this could have been more than eight. I think it was that crazy game last night. So where do you think Bayern Munich goes from here? Because it's completely frightening for all the other teams.
See, to be very honest, you have to look at the aging squad of Bayern Munich as well. Even though they all of them are in the prime. Lewandowski, you've got Muller. They are not on their last legs, but yes, the age is also catching up with everybody.
But
Bayern
I think
Munich,
I think
right?
I think I think, sister, I would say I would have to disagree with you on that, because if you see the way they have signed
That's what I'm saying.
players, if you see the way, if let's talk first about defense. So David Alaba, he has been there for like so many years now, but he's still not that old. He's still into
Yeah,
his late 20s and about to be
like early
nearing
30s,
30, no, nearing
near
30.
30,
But
near
I
30.
think that's a ripe age for a defender. That's like a age where you mature a lot and you become a world class defender, which he already is. You talk about
Completely.
Kimmich. Kimmich is an amazing player. He's a young guy. He's an
Yeah,
amazing
he's a
player.
young guy. Yeah, very young guy.
Davi is the man I'm who's big fan since last night. He's a 19-year-old kid. If you talk about the midfield, then Thiago, he's into his mid 20s. If you talk about Muller, yes, Muller is old, but Muller doesn't show any signs of being old.
Same. Yeah,
He's amazing. But I'm talking about their wings. So I was amazed when you have a Coutinho and a Coman coming from the bench. So their
exactly.
squad depth is so high, and right now they've actually signed Leroy Sané. And trust me, you know my allegiance. I don't like most of the City squad for my allegiance towards the other half.
Exactly.
However, Leroy Sané is one player I am completely impressed by. His speed, his athleticism. I think any day I find him better than Raheem Sterling. So
Work ethic.
signing
Very.
signing
Yeah, yeah.
signing Leroy Sané, I think the kind of squad they are building, Serge Gnabry, his early 20s, look at the pace of the guy. You never saw him when he was in Arsenal. He was a kid, never paid heed to. Arsenal let him go. One of the many decisions which have gone wrong at the North London club. But if I talk about the squad depth which they have, I think the age is something which they're already working upon, and I think the youngsters which they have
That's
are really world beaters. I think they're world beaters.
that's what I was coming down to. That's what I was trying to tell you. When I talk about Muller, Lewandowski, and all these boys which are there, which are slowly, that's it's like they're aging with aging like a fine wine,
Yeah.
and the kind of replacements they're bringing in, they are going. They're not just going from strength to strength. They're going from strength to strength that high. They're going that level, and it might, and I might, and it is dreading me for me to say it. It might be an era where Bayern Munich, where they were deemed as quite a lot of chokers. They choked quite a lot of
Yeah,
finals.
yeah.
Then they've gone on to win in 2013, especially Champions League after beating us in we beating them in their own home ground. It was a drubbing, but then they came back strong. And then since then, if you look at it, Bayern Munich has been at the helm for quite some time now. Apart from there have been Juventuses and Madrids and everybody who's come in between, and then they won.
Madrid is always
Bayern
there.
Munich,
The
yeah.
the the,
So
the
they've been there in
undisputed
the mix.
kings,
Yes,
undisputed kings.
and Bayern Munich has been there in the mix, and right now with the current squad and the depth and the kind of quality of players they've they've they're under the radar they've added. I believe it is going to be a nightmare for people facing them from the group stage till the time they're there in the competition, and it's going to be a lucky night if you get to beat Bayern.
So do you think anybody is going to stop them this year in the Champions League? Do you think?
This year,
Is
I
it
don't think
possible?
so. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. It is anybody who's left. You got City, you got Lyon who's playing most probably tonight,
Yeah,
and then you've got
that game is happening right now. So I think
as we talk
both of those teams would be dreading to face Bayern Munich.
face
They would have actually
exactly
wanted at least in the final. Although best thing they would have wanted is that Bayern Munich was not there itself. But
exactly.
obviously they can't leave that. So
Then
uh,
then you
in
got
terms of
PSG
PSG, yeah,
and
Leipzig,
Leipzig. I,
yeah,
I believe Leipzig. I'll not count them out, but then it is going to be a 10-1 kind of a thing for me with PSG. The kind of quality they have with Mbappe, Neymar. These two boys in the front, they've got a pretty decent quality and the depth as well. But then
mm,
again, Thomas Tuchel is doing a pretty decent job at PSG, coming from Borussia Dortmund, and
right.
he did a amicable job, and he knows Bayern Munich in and out because he's been in the German league. So I believe PSG can give them a fight, but then beating Bayern Munich would be a difficult job this season
Yeah,
at least. I can say that
it looks the way, and
it
also
looks it
coming
looks very difficult.
coming to their possible opponents in the semi-final. So right now, as you correctly said, so we have Lyon and Manchester City who are actually playing right now, and strangely, and most of the bookies have not given that, but strangely, Lyon is leading. So it's Lyon is 1-0 up against City. So it's like 45 minutes, approximately 45 minutes. So again, you can never count any team right now in this season, because I think the stakes have changed. I think if I talk about two-legged affair, it's more or less something which everybody is comfortable about. You know the tactics, what you're going to do when you're playing home. You know what you're going to do when
When
you're
you're
playing
playing
away.
away,
So 90 minutes and it's a shootout. So most of the teams, I think earlier, if I talk about, had this been earlier also, like in the group stages, etc., it would have been more tougher for the other team. But now it's like, I would say, uh, teams like Bayern Munich or Barcelona. So either of them, if you ask them before a game, do you want this game to go to the extra time? I think both of them would say no, because extra time penalties, it's like a 50-50 thing. So anybody can be a winner on that day.
I
So
agree.
obviously if I say Bayern Munich playing a Leipzig, so Leipzig, with no disrespect to them, Leipzig looks like to be one of the more weaker oppositions based on the current scenario. But if I talk about Bayern Munich versus Leipzig, I think Leipzig or any other team facing Bayern Munich right now, especially in this one-legged affair, I think the best possible prospect for them would be to play a bit differently. You can't play a passing kind of football which Barcelona tried to do. You have to defend really well if you have to stop these
Yeah.
guys.
So in my opinion, you
There are
have to
some
play.
loopholes as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to play deep. I believe what the only way what I as of now my mind says, you'll have to play pretty deep and have sprints and have player with good legs when you have a counter attack and an opportunity, and you cannot let it go. Even a
Right.
50-50 chance or a 30-70 chance, you have to take it and grab it with both hands, because if you leave it, Bayern Munich is going to murder you, and they're going to murder you very
Exactly.
bad.
Exactly.
And that's what we saw last night. I believe that was not. To be very honest, it was a humbling for Barcelona, But then, in my opinion, in my eyes, it was a murder of Barcelona last night, and it was murder very bad.
Yeah, it was true. True. So, well, it was again amazing to dissect that performance of last night. A shambolic performance from Barcelona point of view, but an amazing one from a
Yes.
Bayern Munich standpoint. So it was amazing to discuss that with you, sister. And coming to the next one. So I think once we have a clear clarity about the semifinals, so we'll dissect those games as well going forward.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
nice,
Nice talking
sister.
to you, sister.
Nice,
Long
sister. It was
time.
amazing to talk to you about the last night's game.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
Cheers. Bye
Yep.
bye.
Bye.